With the Fallout TV show coming out, I thought it'd be worth discussing, giving you all think about kind of what might be coming out now, what essentially what's going to occur. So as we know, and as far as I know at this point, I could be wrong, it's meant to be canon, or at least is expected to at least be somewhat following the storyline of kind of the rest of the game so far. And since it's going to be the most recent entry into the series, taking place 9 years after Fallout 4, it's worth noting that there's been a lot of changes in kind of the context and background of the Wasteland as we know it. Because 9 years is quite a lot of time when you think about the Wasteland, considering the events between Fallout 3 and 4 are 10 years. You see how much the Brotherhood changed in that time. So it's worth considering the fact that there's going to be potentially a lot of change in the dynamics, especially since New Vegas, which takes place, if I remember correctly, about 6 years, I think, before Fallout 4. That basically means it's been 15 years since we've seen the West Coast. So things could have drastically changed in that time. One of the key things I've noticed from some of the trailers is that obviously there's a very clear NCR presence, and obviously an even more obvious Brotherhood presence. So let's give them a quick think about kind of where they're at this point. So essentially, the last we saw the Brotherhood of Steel on the West Coast, they were, for a better term, they would be quite effed up. They were not doing very well. The NCR are essentially breaching their bunkers and essentially just completely dominating them on the West Coast. So at the point in New Vegas, when we really last saw the conflict, the Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR were engaged in a very bloody conflict over handling technology after the fall of the Enclave. Both sides had their victories, but long story short, the NCR sheer numbers meant that the Brotherhood of Steel were forced into their bunkers to hide and basically just try and hold fort. But that wasn't working. The NCR managed to breach them and were essentially defeating them one by one. Now let's kind of throw ourselves forward as to where we're at. So essentially where I think we're at now is that the Brotherhood of Steel, based on the trailer, seems to be much further along in terms of kind of, they're not stuck in bunkers anymore. They seem to be launching full-on airships and seem to be, based on the trailer, deploying large-scale assaults on settlements. So you can only assume that in the 15 years since we last seen them on the West Coast, they've come a long way. And to be fair, that's not unheard of in terms of the lore. In Fallout 4, we hear the fact that the High Elders on the West Coast supported Arthur Maxson's rise to power to be Elder, and they essentially named him Elder after hearing about his feats to unifying the Brotherhood. So it's not something we've not seen before in the lore in terms of their kind of resurgence. So this will be the first time we actually visualize and see them actually come to full dominance once again on the West Coast. And it's whether the NCR, who look quite weak in this trailer compared to what we've seen in the past, can actually hold them off, or whether this can be kind of a sweepstakes for the Brotherhood this time, and whether moving forward we'll be seeing much more of a Brotherhood resurgence on the East and the West Coast. Now, this video's already come this long, so I'm sorry for a little tag on bit at the end. But essentially, I'm going to be doing a bunch coming up to the Fallout TV show, and during and after the Fallout TV show, I'm going to be doing a lot of kind of reviews, talking through it, and the background, the lore, to kind of make sure people are kind of clued up on what's happening on the West Coast up until the point of the show. And whether it is canon or not, there's going to be a lot of integral background that will inform part of your required reading, I think, to kind of really appreciate what is going on between the factions. And realistically, if a Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR are fighting each other in the show, getting some understanding as to why that is. So I'll be doing more videos discussing kind of the background of the conflict, including the fall of the Enclave and what happened there, technology, things like that. So, and also discussing a bit the NCR's background and Brotherhood of Steel's background, and most importantly, really talking about kind of the dynamics they have with each other, especially to the settlements that they kind of occupy, because it wasn't all NCR owned, nor was it all Brotherhood of Steel owned at any point. They always had some point of dynamic with each other. So obviously follow if you want to see more of that sort of stuff, theories, thoughts, more or less